Okay, so this is a quick, unrehearsed, unedited demonstration of Wayfarer. This is version 3.0. This is Wayfarer for NIEM 3. A Wayfarer for NIEM 4 is going to look and function pretty much the same, even though it would be totally redone under the covers, but the interface would be the same. This is the main screen you come to. You'll probably only see this once the first time you come to Wayfarer. It's the here, do a search page, and it leads to everything else. But this little search bar is available on every page in Wayfarer. So you can always, always, always just do a search from wherever you are. You never have to come back to this particular page. So let's just search for something. We'll search for vehicle, but we'll spell it correctly. And what you get when you search for something is you get a window full of search results. And what Wayfarer shows you is matching elements. So all the elements that match what you typed are over on the left. All the types that match what you search for are in the middle, and then on the right are matching enumerations. These are code table entries that matched what you searched for. It's not matching on the type, although it shows you the type so that you can get to the page for that type, but it's matching the particular code values that are there, values and definitions. So each one of these codes over here under enumerations is going to have the word vehicle in there somewhere. You can also reorder these things. You can order it by name alphabetically. You can order it by domain prefix, or you can order it by relevance. And I'm just going to do it by relevance to quickly get where I want to go. Relevance has a feedback loop where every time somebody comes and does a search on a term and then clicks on something, the database keeps track of that. It doesn't keep track of who did it. It just keeps track that, hey, somebody searched for X and then they picked Y, and that bumps up the score for Y. And so that's kind of a relevant search. But I just wanted to go to vehicle because vehicle has a lot of stuff to look at. So this is the main page for an element. This tells you everything you need to know about a particular element in NIEM. It starts out with the title of the name of the element, as well as the type, the definition. Now in NIEM 3, you had a lot of different kind of referencey things, and it would give you, this would be an appropriate target for something. Whether that remains, I don't know. I don't think it's a very useful feature. It's got this thing called a path, which will track as you go through elements and build an XPath to that element based on how you got to it. That's handy for doing mapping spreadsheets. It lets you boost this in the search results if you think this was a really good hit. Again, I'm not sure that's anything anybody uses. It has a UML view, which is similar to the UML view that Georgia Tech is working on in the SSGT. I'll show you that really quick. It's a very generic UML. This is not NIEM UML. NIEM UML display would actually be a really, really impressive thing, but that's not what it is. It's a generic UML type of visualization. Then there's namespace information as well. Over here, you've got everything that vehicle is contained in. The element pages concentrate on container relationships, what contains what. So you've got vehicle contained in nothing. Nothing contains vehicle. It's one of those kind of level things that just exists as an object for you to put together in your exchanges. What can it contain? Well, it has a whole bunch of things it can contain, from vehicle augmentation all the way down to vehicle unladen weight measure. And these are alphabetical, but if you want them in the order the schema shows them in, you can change that as well. So this is what you would see in movement. This is really all that movement shows you for elements, are the things that it natively holds as part of its specific type without any inheritance. So what you get on the top half of Wayfarer pages are simple information about that element. You get all the things it contains. You get all the definitions for those. It automatically does replacements for augmentation points and other abstract things. Like vehicle transmission category, it automatically sticks the code and text in there instead of showing it as a hierarchy, because it's not actually a hierarchy. These things replace the substitution group head. If you scroll down further, you get the advanced stuff. So on the left, you get all available subproperties. This is everything that a vehicle can contain, including inheritance. And it starts with that same list that we saw on the top half of the page. All this stuff is all stuff that it can contain because it's a vehicle type. But we also include all the inherited stuff. So this is what you see in the SSGT if you clicked on Show Inheritance and then expanded all the types. But here it's all just laid out right away. You get here, it inherits from conveyance type, and these are the things that it would get from conveyance type. It inherits from item type, and then these are all the things that it would get from item type, which is an awful lot of stuff. And then over here on the lower half of the page on the right are all available parent properties. This is everything that can contain a vehicle, including things that inherit the ability to contain a vehicle. Since nothing can contain a vehicle, there's nothing there. But this is, in essence, what an element page looks like. Let's look really quickly at a vehicle page, and then we'll look at a little bit more. Here's the vehicle type page, and type pages are all about the type derivations. So you want to learn about type derivations, you go to the type page. And it starts out the same with definitional stuff like that. Then it has derivation information. So in this quadrant here is the simple stuff. Now you're going to notice some weirdness, like this data type derived from unsigned int. That's just wrong, and that's because of an added feature I tried to add into Wayfarer, and it got too complicated, and some parts aren't working right, and that's stuff I don't want to have in NIEM 4, the version for NIEM 4. But it's there right now. We just have to deal with it. But it tells you that vehicle type is derived from conveyance type, which in turn is derived from item type, which is in turn derived from object type. And if there were more things it was derived from, it would show that. Now going the other way, you have types which are derived from vehicle type. So you have commercial vehicle type, and so that's a specialization of vehicle type. Things of commercial vehicle type are going to have everything vehicle type has, plus special things of their own. Down in the bottom left, you've got elements that are of that type. So here are all the elements directly of vehicle type. And then over here on the lower right is elements of vehicle type or any type ultimately derived from vehicle type. In other words, vehicle-ish things. So this would include anything of vehicle type, but also anything of commercial vehicle type, because commercial vehicle types are still vehicles. So if you're looking at this type and you're wondering what are all the different elements that are this kind of a thing, including things that are derived from this, including types that are derived from this type, you get this here. You get this down here on the lower right. And this is really important information because there's no really good way to get this if a tool doesn't show it to you. The only way to get this is to really do a lot of backtracking through types and keeping track. So it's something for a tool to keep track for you. Let me go quickly back to vehicle type. Let's look at something. I want to show you something that holds. Okay, let's just look at vehicle interior color text, just to look at the things it contains. So here we get a little more information container-wise, because what is a vehicle color interior text contained in? Well, it's contained in things of vehicle type. For example, a vehicle. Now note it says vehicle type, and vehicle is an example, because really what things are held inside of, that container relationship is defined through the types. So anything of vehicle type can hold a vehicle color interior text. And so it's important to say this is just an example. Vehicle is one example. Depending on the type, the example is going to change. Typically, it'll pick the example that matches the type, but it's an example. If vehicle color interior text was just natively inside of more than one type, and there were plenty of elements like that, there would be a bar across, and it would show each of the containers and container types that it is in. And if those started to recurse, you would get a notice saying, that happens in NIEM, where item A contains item B, and item B contains item A, and you get this recursive loop. What can it contain? Not a lot. A bunch of attributes, basically. And attributes are marked with a @ sign in front. That's just kind of a convention in the world. A little more interesting, all available subproperties. Not a lot different. It's just a string, so there's not going to be a lot that it has other than attributes. But I wanted to show over here all available parent properties. So this is everything that can contain a vehicle color interior text. This is every object in NIEM that could contain this. And that's going to be things of vehicle type, but that's also going to be things of types derived from vehicle type. In other words, commercial vehicle type here. So that's what you see. You see these first four here are things of vehicle type or commercial vehicle type. So when you're looking at an element and you want to know what can contain that element, well, here's how you find that out. You find it out here. These are all the things that can contain it. Now these two down here are, again, I tried to make Wayfarer support all the versions of NIEM all at the same time, and it kind of works and it kind of doesn't. And for NIEM 4, that's one of the reasons I want to just do a new version of NIEM specific to NIEM 4 instead of trying to get one code base to be able to handle both 3 and 4. So that's why you're seeing that. There's some weirdness in this, and that's why I want to rewrite it. So that is, in a nutshell, that is how Wayfarer works.